Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is DJ Ital live, and before we go on, please press subscribe. It's a sad day as we announce the death of Wailer, one of the founder of reggae music, and he has died at 73 years. Wailer, a founding member of the Wailers, the Jamaican group. He has founded the group he founded with Bob Marley and Peter Tosh, which helped bring reggae music into a worldwide audience. Dies March 2nd in Jamaica. He was 73. The death was announced by his manager, Maxine Stoll. There was conflict accounts about whether he died at a hospital in Kingston, Jamaica, or in St. Andrew's Parish. He had been treated for a stroke suffered last year. Mr. Wailer, a three-time Grammy Award winner who originally named was Neville Livingstone, was the last surviving member of the Wailers, which he helped form in the early 1960s. He shared a hand-scrabbled childhood with Bob Marley in rural Jamaica and later in the Kingston neighborhood of Strange Town, where they discovered music and met Peter Tosh, who had taught himself to play a homemade guitar. Other members came and went, and the group's name changed from the Teenagers to the Wailing Rude Boys to the Wailing Wailers, but Bob Marley, Tosh, and Mr. Wailer were the nucleus. In 1963, they recorded Simmer Down, Simmer Down, a prayer to end violence among the Rude Boys in Kingston slums, which became #1 hit song in Jamaica. At first, the Wailers, as they came known, blended the Jamaica musical styles of rock steady and ska with the rhythm and blues and jazz they heard on US radio stations. American music was a part of Jamaican culture. Mr. Wailer told the San Francisco Chronicles in 1998, "We used to listen to R&B's performers, Rascal Gordon and Louis Jordan. Then we started getting into Louis Armstrong, Louis Prima, Bill Haley, that rock and roll. If they were hot in America, they were hot in Jamaica until we started to make our own music." All three principal members of the Wailers wrote songs and alternated singing the leading vocals. Mr. Wailer: "I inherited my music from the Wailers. That's how serious I am about this," he said in 1986. Had a soulful tenor voice, sometimes reminiscent of Sam Cooke, and was known for his high harmonies. He sang the lead part of his compositions, Dreamland and Dancing Shoes, and on-cover version of Bob Marley Dylan's Like a Rolling Stone. By the late 1960s, the Wailers and other musicians such as Joe Higgs, Jimmy Cliff, and Toots Hibbert of Toots and the Maytals slowed the rhythm to a distinctive looping pattern, giving birth to reggae. The lyrics often highlighted social struggles and spiritual concerns. The music caused a lot of people to change their lives and their convictions, he told the Chronicles. It was saying something a little different from "Darling, I love you" and "Baby, I need you." The Wailers were outspoken about their Rastafarian faith, which emphasized black pride and held the Ethiopian's emperor Haile Selassie was a deity. The smoking of marijuana or ganja was a sacred ritual. Mr. Wailer spent 14 months in prison on a marijuana charge in the late 1960s. The Wailers' first few albums were released only in Jamaica before they signed by Island Records, founded by Jamaican entrepreneur Chris Blackwell. The group was renamed Bob Marley and the Wailers, and Marley and Tosh wrote most of the songs on the group's first two albums of Island, Catch a Fire and Burning, both in 1973. Mr. Wailer was reduced to being most harmony singer. The group performed in England in 1973, but Mr. Wailer balked and planned US tour. He failed the Wailers that year. Following soon afterward by Tosh, Marley became an international superstar, going on tour. Every time you record an album, you have got to be jackboxing yourself, Mr. Wailer told the Angeles Times in 1986. That kills every artist that does that, physically, morally, in every way. Mr. Wailer retreated to a solitary life in Jamaica, formed a record label Solomonic, and merged with his solo album Black Heart Man in 1976. He wrote most of the songs, including one about his prison term in battering down sentence, later called Fighting Against Conviction, and other about a Jamaica identity, including the title track Rastaman and Dreamland. Critic Rick Anderson, writing for the allmusic.com website, hailed it as one of the most extraordinary albums of the Roots period, a complex but instantly attractive and occasionally heartbreaking record that never raises above a whisper in tone but packed as much political and spiritual wallop as the best of the Bob Marley work. Neville O'Reilly Livingston was born April 10, 1947 in Kingston and spent his early years in rural St. Anne's Parish. He was raised by a single father who was minister, Marley, who was 2 years older, and was raised by a single mother was his closest friend. Marley's mother and Mr. Wailer's father later had a daughter together. Both families moved to Kingston, Jamaica, where Mr. Wailer and Marley lived in poverty. The lyrics of Talking Blues, a song Marley later recorded, was hardly an extra generation, called Ground was my bed last night and rock was my pillow too. Mr. Wailer had a nickname, Bunny, from a young age, as he and Marley worked on vocal harmonies based on what they heard on radio. One of their Strange Town's neighbors was Hicks, who became a musical mentor. I did it a hobby for entertaining the community, Mr. Wailer told GQ magazine in 2011, describing his early approach to music. Bob took it as a weapon to get him out of that kind of condition of being a nobody to being a somebody, a musician. After Marley died of cancer in 1981 and Tosh was shot to death in an attempted robbery in 1987, only Mr. Wailer was left to carry on the Wailers' legacy. He released many more albums, including several dedicated to the memory of Marley and the Wailers, and embarked on international tours. Among the 3 Grammy Awards he won in the 1990s, 2 were for tributes to Bob Marley. His most recent record was released in 2018. In 2012, the American hip-hop artist Snoop Dogg traveled to Jamaica to collaborate with Mr. Wailer, but they had a bitter falling out. I tried to call him Snoop Lion, Mr. Wailer told the Irish Times in 2014, but he disrespected me and exhibited himself to be the dog that he is. Mr. Wailer's wife, Jean Watt, who designed his colorful stage outfits, suffered from dementia and had not been seen since disappearing in Kingston last year. Mr. Wailer had children from several relationships. A complex list of survivors could not be confirmed. Even as his beard and dreadlocks turned white, Mr. Wailer was an energetic concert performer, and his equistyle voice never deserted him. He divided his time between Kingston and farm in Jamaica interior. I am more a man of the bushes, the jungle, the weeds, he said in 1990. That's where my inspiration comes from. That's what keeps Bunny Wailer alive, and it's not good to stray from your life force. And that is short story of Bunny Wailer, the Wailers, and their music journey. This is DJ Ital Live, one of the big fan of Bunny Wailer. This is my mentor in reggae music. This is my father in reggae music. And this is my favorite reggae artist ever. Rest in peace, Bunny Wailer. Rest in peace, my father of music. Rest in peace, my mentor. Rest in power, my favorite artist. I will remember you in my days of liberty. As you always say, and I use these lyrics of your song as my prayer every day. When I travel, when I walk, when I sleep, this is my prayer. You always say in one of the songs, Cease Fire, that due to the falling and due to the ascent of the Mount Zion, for their most high Jah, Rastafari, Kumaris, Mr. and I shall never die, believe forever. Rest well.
My soul, this love of mine